Welcome to Two Guys.
A girl.
and an MBA.
I closed the Nvidia put. I closed the position, profited about 80, 90%, and then
Wow.
now I've got another one on. It's crazy. It swings up and down. It's like I was down up to 40, 70% on that one. And now I closed it out a month early for like a huge gain. And now I've opened another one a few days ago. I'm already down, 20, 30, 40%. It's just what it is. It just swings around like crazy. But, you know, it's a money maker for me. Thank you, Nvidia.
Okay,
Awesome.
now invest to quantum computing businesses because it's like a future. Do it right now.
It just seems risky. I think we talked about it before, or did we talk about this? Like all the car companies, were all said to be uh, big winners back in the day, and airplanes, and I think Buffett mentioned something like this.
Mhm.
He's been around long enough to see some of these industries when they were, nascent, just beginning. And, you see the same frenzy around internet recently, most recent 2000 bubble. And there are winners, yeah, but almost all of the airplane companies went out of business. Almost all of the car companies went out of business. Almost all of the microwave companies or whatever go out of it. Almost all of the internet companies went out of business. And there's a few winners at the end. And it's typically not the ones that invented the technology. It's the ones that picked it up later and made a more profitable business with it. Uh, Everyone's saying AI is different, but I'm hesitant about, oh, this time it's different. I've heard that story before. There's going to be some huge winners in AI. Somebody's going to take the cake. That means all the rest of them are going to go out of business. Like, probably. That's my prediction.
I don't think you can say AI could be a standalone type of business to have a Warren Buffett type of uh, investment strategy. I think companies that implement AI for either increased efficiency or increased productivity, like whatever it is, right? That can X times X it, right? 10 times X their business model. I
Yeah.
think those are the companies you invest in. And I think that's what everybody's clamoring for. Like you see how they apply AI to their business model and their stock prices go up because, by extension, you're thinking, well, they're going to do things better or they're going to do better things more. So I'm going to invest in them because it's going to hit their top line or eventually their bottom line. So I think if you think about all these technologies like that, they have to be applied to real world businesses that we can understand. That's why the internet companies went out as a standalone because it's a tool. It's not the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you look back at the internet companies, it's interesting to look at who are the winners and why did they win. Apple developed a piece of hardware, this is a Samsung, but, it developed a smartphone. Their big claim to fame, and also music before that. They basically put the whole record industry out of business in developing their smartphone.
Apple
Amazon,
TV.
Apple TV, right? Amazon, okay, it's all through the internet, but they're the biggest logistics and shipping company in the world pretty much. And they deliver packages so fast. And they had this, a unique business model,
Or
$25 free shipping,
AWS, their
right?
storage
Yeah, and
business,
big
right?
warehousing. And so these are
Yep.
like physical. So like, yeah, like to your point, there's a business behind these internet companies. They leverage the internet and use it to scale and change a business model and put all the retailers, all the mom and pop shops out of business. In the case of Amazon, I think AI is similar. It's a tool. How our
Mhm.
business is going to adapt and mold and change around it so that they get a competitive advantage, a moat, and become the next Amazons and Apples and Googles and so forth.
Isn't
Like,
that what happened to Nvidia? I mean, they have a chip, but their chip was designed for AI, so that's where
yeah.
their stock exploded and they became the de facto leader in the
Yeah,
space
but I,
because
I see them as precarious because developments like what we were talking about before, quantum computing, or as the software and all the code breaking and all that accelerates, like you need less and less hardware. And there's what is it called? The law of, oh, I can't remember it, but it's the
the
principle
Moore's
that,
law, Moore's
yeah,
law, yeah,
yeah, the principle that every year the processing power doubles or so forth.
yep,
And like, there's no reason to think that's going to change,
yep.
right? So that puts the hardware manufacturers at a disadvantage. Intel wasn't a huge winner. They're still around, right? But if you look at their stock, it was a big crash. And they didn't recover shareholder value for like 20 years. And now they're having troubles again because it's a race to the bottom. You're producing a chip. It's like almost like a commodity, like you're producing rice or something, you know, it's and huge fixed costs to make these big plants and just to print the first chip takes, you know, billions and billions of dollars of investment. Governments have to come get involved. Biden had the CHIPS Act, right? And I think any chip maker like Nvidia has, you know, they're subject to those risks. It's not a slam dunk home run in my opinion. But I'm you know I'm having fun
Make your
with it.
money, baby.
I'm making money on
You
it. So
roll. Yes.
Anyway, it's not only about chips, but it's also manufacturing of the chips. So just a new technology. It could be the big machine to produce the small pieces. So that's like it's like a supplier of this big machine. And if you need a chip, you need to buy or own the own machine to produce it.
yeah, I feel like betting on Nvidia, although I am kind of betting on them, but I feel like it's like saying it's like betting on ISPs in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones that provide the internet service. They weren't really the ones that won, right? Internet service became more like a utility bill, like gas or water or
Yeah, yeah.
electricity. So, you know, that's a more stable. So I think AI might have a similar thing. It's going to become like a utility that you
Subscription and
subscription,
you.
yeah, that you pay
Mm-hmm.
50 or $100 a month like a cable bill and uh, who knows what the actual innovators are going to do to get competitive advantages using that as that infrastructure develops and scales up exponentially. Businesses are going to take advantage of that. You know, one interesting thing about AI is I was talking to someone that works at Ernst and Young, and he said, "Yeah, we have our own AI internally." And I think a lot of companies are
Mm-hmm.
doing that because they don't want to feed their customer and other data out into other AI algorithms. They want to keep
Yeah.
it so but not everyone's going to be open AI making their own chat GPT or Grok, right? It's going to be limited.
I think the next step, like government will own AI, like on the country level. Why not? So it's like China will be the first who do it. Like, okay, this is our own AI for everyone. So it's like the source of truth. Use it, like they did for like Google, any search system. They just produce their own.
I hope
That's the
not.
source of truth.
It's
I don't know.
predictable. It's going to happen for China.
Please consider subscribing below.
Thank you for being with us. Please leave your comments, feedback, what you think about us, and see you in the next podcast. Bye.